talk a little bit about what it's like, just like having like being on Shakedown, because I think for most of our readers, listeners, and viewers, they may know what Shakedown is. They may have been on lot one or two times, but a lot of folks know. And just for anybody who doesn't know, Shakedown or the lot is a colloquial term for where vendors who create merchandise gather to sell their wares to the fans prior to the show. It could be for any given band. Strings for Fish, for Widespread Panic, for Dave Matthews Band, um, you name it. If there's a big enough scene to support it, it'll be there. But talk a little bit about like what that's like, and what goes into actually having a place at Shakedown versus just being the type of person who walks up and down it.
Well, I mean, that's kind of funny because everyone's like, always asks, they're like, well, how did you get a spot in here? And we're like, oh, you just buy a parking spot, and they're like, really? And like, yeah. But I mean, it's changed. It's changed even since we've started doing it. A lot of venues now are running the shakedown. Like some of them are capitalizing on it and, charging larger amounts to the vendors to be out there. But also a lot of vendors are starting to get there days before the show and like line up and to get the best spots and that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's typically, it varies per place when the lots open. Some will open at noon, some will open at 5. It just kind of depends on the place. You know, you kind of go get your spot and then you set up and usually people come. I mean, I would say that most people come 2 hours before the show, and then leading up to the show. A lot of vendors are out there all day and stuff, so they like people to come by early.
Wildest thing you've seen on Shakedown?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I could say. I mean,
If you had to pick, I mean, like, but just to know, just to like,
it's an interesting experience.
I think it's worth just for a moment dwelling on that. I mean, it's chaos. It's so
I mean,
much.
if you went on tour with those
Well,
venues.
I mean, it's everything you said. It's being there early. It's making sure you get a spot. It's hauling out everything that you're traveling with, setting up the tent, setting up the table, making sure everything's staffed. I mean, making sure you're towards the exit as the encore starts to make sure, I mean, like, it's all of
Yeah,
these
because you got
things.
to get back and sell
It-
after the show too. And everybody's like,
Absolutely.
"What do you do with your stuff?" And like, put it all back in the car, lock it up, and then go to the show and come back out. We leave our tents and tables out, but yeah.
Has there ever been an experience that you've had where that's gone wrong for you?
Um, yeah. I don't want to go into much detail, but yeah. Oh, for
Fair
sure.
enough. Fair enough. Fair
For
enough.
sure.
That's fair. Because again, getting back to the nature of the place, it's chaotic. There's allegedly a lot of things happening and a lot of alleged things being used by a lot of people, and it can get wild. And I mean, I only remember from my experience as a vendor on lot, just like kind of trying to figure out. I remember the first day for me, like, I was trying to figure out, how do I keep an eye on all the chaos and do my job, and like
I
not
mean,
just get
totally.
stuck people watching.
Totally. I mean, it's interesting. And it gets so crazy right before the shows too, like that hour before the show. And it's like we've been down in St. Augustine as a perfect example. And it's one of the better lots because it's right by the entrance. It's right by the box office. So everyone really comes by on their way in. And it's one of the busiest lots. And I always tell people, I'm like, I could use 5 people helping me. I mean, we always have friends hanging out in our tent. And I'm like, y'all, if you see I'm busy, come on up and help me. Like, because it does, it gets crazy from that perspective. And part of it is what you're saying, like just making sure people aren't grabbing your stuff and walking off too. And making sure the payments go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, "Can I see your Venmo?" And they're like, "Yeah, it went through." And I'm like, "No, I gotta see it."
But I need the
And I'm
receipt
like, "It's
though.
not you, it's me."
But I need the
Sometimes
receipt
people
though. Well, but that's a valid point, and I think it's worth noting that yes, you, the fan, the purchaser, you may have the best of intentions and be an amazing person, but things have happened, and every all the rules we implement, on Shakedown are for a reason. And there is also just this kind of mutual understanding that or there should be. I think that vibe was there when I was around, but I'm curious if it
but yeah,
still
I mean,
is that vendors have each other's backs.
right. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, with the transactions, which was so funny about that is like numerous times people are like, "Yeah, I paid," and they'll show it to me, and I'm like, "Oh no, you got to put in the last four digits of my phone number, hit pay without confirming," and they're not doing it intentionally. It's the same thing. There's so many clicks, and they're just walking away. And I mean, I've gotten payments the next day and a message saying, "I'm so sorry it didn't go through. When I opened it up, it was still there." I'm like, "Wow, you're honest." So
There's definitely those people out there who are gonna look at it and be like, "Oh yeah, I was allegedly doing this the other day and don't remember making this purchase, but clearly I did
oh
because I
yeah,
have this item." And also that is a fair point that like, yeah, if I'm putting myself in the mindset of where I was at about 10 years ago in my life before a fish show on lot, I probably wasn't double checking to make sure that the PayPal transaction went through or the Venmo transaction went through. Because I was like, I know I'm doing it. It's being done. I could see it with the eyes, and I'm doing it with the fingers, and I don't give it a
yeah,
second. And the
lot of
vendor's
shaking
like,
hands and a lot.
"No." And the vendor in the
Yeah.
back just, "No."
And some other vendors have told me, that they're just like, it's crazy. Like people cancel their payments after they walk away with the merchandise and that type of stuff. Oh yeah,
See, now
and it's
that's
just like,
just that's
really?
just that's just shitty behavior.